We have experienced a trend line of wealth and income inequality unlike anything in U.S. history. $50 trillion of wealth and income has been transferred from the people who work in the bottom 90% of this country to the top 10%, primarily the top 1% and the top 0.1% and 0.001% and on. Because the smaller the percentage, the more the wealth has been concentrated there. What is that doing? Is the middle class folks are spending higher rent, the kind of rent that they would usually spend on a mortgage and get the interest expense deduction and the benefits of home ownership. They're losing that. But they're driving up the rents for the working class, who now are paying in excess of 50% of their take-home pay. Because people would rather be in shelter than eat as much as they normally would eat. And that is what is happening in America. How's capitalism working? There's not a person listening to this podcast who can tell me that capitalism is working for most of us. And it's not unique to America. Capitalism is no longer working for most of the middle class, for the working poor, for the working class. No. And it's not because they're not productive. Earth Overshoot Day is the day of the year that we consume a year's worth of natural resource. For 2024, the Earth Overshoot Day was August 1st. What that means is for the 5 months after August 1st, we're drawing down the available natural resource for future generations. Capitalism is exceeding the carrying capacity of the planet. The solution is not killing off half the planet, though some people sound like they want to. We need another economics, and an economics that can sustain, that can function open-endedly within the resource capacity of the earth. All humans have an equal claim on the resources that sustain all of us. Let that float around a little bit. How is it possible, wealthiest country on earth, that so many of us are resource deprived? Human innovation has rendered scarcity of resources obsolete. If we don't waste the resources, if we don't hoard the resources, we waste more food. Restaurants throw out more food every day than can feed the hungry in this country. So we don't have a food shortage. We have an access to food shortage. Jonas Salk, when he invented the polio vaccine, they asked Dr. Salk, why didn't you patent the polio vaccine? You would be wealthy. He said it would be like patenting the sunshine. The economy of the future will not have money, will not need money. Imagine what your life would be like if you could learn what you wanted to learn and do the work that makes you excited to get up every day. Could you imagine the quality of the services people would be contributing if what everyone was doing was their passion? So we need to shift our relationship with resources from ownership, which allows us to waste the resource if we choose to waste the resource, which allows us to deny access to anyone else to use the resource, even when we're not using the resource, right? That's what ownership does. To stewardship, which says part of our guaranteed access to the resources we can use is that we're using it. And that when we're not using a resource, we're not demanding that no one else can use it either. We get degraded, intentionally downgraded quality, intended to not be repaired, to not be used for a long time, to require us to buy it again and again and again, because that drives the economic growth. How awful is that? Life is stranger than fiction because we're living through the end of an era. We're living through the end of the age of reason. Now, what we do in this liminal period is entirely up to us.